tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your number one source in after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Gotta get the yeah-yeah-yeahs in there. Hey everybody, I'm your host Keaton Markey doing a special edition of Spotlight On with the amazingly talented actress Jamie Chung, who also is such a fashionista. As I started looking at your websites and stuff, What the Chung is awesome.
Thank you.
Everybody needs to check it out immediately. But you are starring in the new Sin City movie, A Dame to Kill For. I know you guys just had the premiere last night, but how are you doing?
I'm a little tired this morning,
yes.
But it's just the name of the game. Last night was great. It's always so wonderful to come together and celebrate something that you've worked so hard on, being surrounded by friends and family. So it was a good time. It went a little later than I would have hoped since I had an early morning, but it was worth it.
Well, I'm glad you were able to make it here, and your dress last night looked gorgeous. Who were you wearing?
Thank you. I was wearing Pamela Roland.
Stunning. You guys look up the pictures. It's gorgeous. It's long sleeve, and it was like perfect weather last night for a premiere.
It wasn't too hot.
So speaking of your family, did they come in town for the premiere?
Did I say family? I meant friends.
Just friends?
No, I'll bring my family down for something that isn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Action-packed. Yeah.
Because you have been in a lot of action-packed movies, and I mean, especially as something like Sin City, I mean, it is a little risque, and you've come from a very traditional family up in San Francisco.
Yep.
So what is their kind of opinion when you've been in a lot of movies kind of like this?
Usually in the past movies, the one comment my mom would say is, "Aren't you cold? Why couldn't you put on more clothes?" I mean, that's literally all that I get from her. I don't think that they've seen the movie Eden yet. It's whatever I send them or whatever I tell them about, and they're an older generation, so they don't cruise the internet or anything like that. So, which is great.
It makes it a little easier.
Oh yeah.
So, what was your childhood like growing up? Did you always know you wanted to be an actress, or was that something that came later?
No, I mean, growing up, it was always fun to entertain. You know, my parents were always working, and my sister and I hardly had a babysitter, so we would have to entertain ourselves. And that involved watching a lot of TV and a lot of movies and acting out silly little skits and trying to break dance after watching Break-In. I mean, it really, the list goes on. But it's something that's been so... it's been a big part of my life.
So if you weren't an actor, would you be doing something else in the entertainment business, do you think?
I don't know. I'm really into photography, and I think it's so cool to be a set photographer because you really catch interesting moments. It's like, it's all on film, but you never really get to press pause. And, the photographer is there to really catch some great moments that sometimes we could miss on film.
Absolutely.
So I guess I would be a set photographer.
That's really cool. Well, and it was funny because you actually went to school for economics.
Yes.
Which has nothing to do.
It's not funny at all. It's really boring.
Well, what was that like, and how did you, go from economics to then, being a movie star?
Well, it was kind of my safety net. I feel like having a college degree under your belt and having, well, first of all, it's a UC, so it's a great education, and it's affordable, and it's great for residents in California. But I loved the experience, and I think it's important to have, and it was one of my parents' fears after coming off the real world. They were really terrified that I wasn't going to finish college. And I made it a point to do that before I moved to LA and fully pursued this career. But it's something that I had forgotten to mention to my parents that I wanted to do. I didn't want them to worry. And I have a huge fear of failure. Fear for failure. Jesus, are we gonna edit this? I hope so. Okay, so, and so I worked for a year on some TV shows, some small shows, and finally my mom called me up and was like, "Are you doing this soap opera, Days of Our Lives?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing that. By the way, let's have a conversation." So it always came a little late.
But you did make it. You mentioned Real World, which I remember watching you on Real World World San Diego back in 2004. How did you get involved with that?
I was working 2 jobs. I was cocktailing and I was serving and going to school full time. So I had heard rumors that the Real World were coming by this bar that I was working at the time to hold auditions, like a cattle call, they say. So literally 700 people, more than 700 people showed up to kind of go through the initial process of the interviews. And I don't know, just one phase led to the next. And before I knew it, I was on the show. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because then, then you did the Real World, and then you did a couple of the challenge kind of spin-off shows.
I just did one.
Oh, you did just one,
Yeah.
and you won it.
And then paid for college.
So, what was it like kind of being thrown into that world? And almost, Real World, it's almost like this instant fame, because especially, I remember San Diego, your season was huge. And maybe it was just because I was at the age where I was so into MTV and so into Real World at the time, because it was almost like a new generation of Real World. What was that like?
For me, it was just like a quarter. I took a quarter off, and going into it, I grew up on the show. Like, I grew up in San Francisco, and so I watched the Real World San Francisco when I probably shouldn't have. But it's always been so fascinating, taking 7 people that would never live together or be near each other and bring them under one roof and seeing what happens. And, back in the day, it really was about, political differences, and you're coming from different worlds, and of course you're going to have a different opinion about things. And it was really interesting to see how that person resolved the issues, if they ever chose to resolve it. And it's something that I always want to be a part of. So when I got the opportunity, I was like, yes, I'll take a quarter off of school. It's a free vacation. It's a lifetime experience. I had to do it. I was very thrilled. And, when I got to the house, I was terrified. The personalities, everyone's personality was so big and boisterous, and I was, it kind of made me clam up a little bit. But I wouldn't trade it in. I had a great time. I made some great friends, and the challenge is exactly the same, but there's 20 people instead of 7, and it's so intimidating because, again, it's really big personalities, and I'm not really into like the angling.
Yeah.
For the challenge, for me, it was more just like a physical challenge. Like, I wanted to do it for myself, and of course try and win some money. But
it's always
I don't know.
nice.
Yeah, and I still watch it.
You do?
I'm solely addicted.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's so awesome that you still watch it. Do you still keep in touch with a lot of your castmates?
I try. That's what's so great about Facebook. I'll Facebook Cameron Eubanks. I know Brad had a baby. It's we'll keep up that way, but. If I'm ever in Atlanta, I'll hit up Jacquees and we'll try and hang.
Aww.
But we played phone tag not too long ago. But it's nice to hear what everyone's up to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You've kind of done what a lot of people coming from reality TV haven't been able to do. You've been able to have such a successful acting career as you've left reality television. Do you think that was a difficult journey for you because you were on reality TV, or do you think it was easier for you because you were on reality TV?
No way. It's it's something that we kept off the resume, and the show had finished airing like less than 3 years ago, and so it's still pretty fresh. And I felt like it was an extra hurdle to jump over when I went into the room for these auditions with casting directors, because they were like, "Oh, you're that girl. Well, let's see." So I felt like it was a bit more challenging, but. Overall, like, auditioning is hard. It sucks. It's, 99 no's before you get a maybe. It's pretty brutal.
So what was like kind of the first role that you got that you were like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this.
Oh man, it was either Veronica Mars. I had like one line, and I think it was, "He's in the backyard." Like that was my. Or I did this Adam Sandler movie, and it's so embarrassing. And this is the one movie my mom was like, "What happened to all your clothes?" I played a Hooters girl, but they Taft Hartley'd me, which was great. So they kind of pushed along the process for me to get into the union.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that was the one. And then, I mean, did you ever see yourself on soaps?
Oh man, no way. But I loved my storyline, and I was actually really proud of it. I really liked the writing. And, you know, I was like, is this something that I can put on? Because I gave it my all, and the whole process of soap operas, it's so hard. Like literally, you'll show up in the morning, you'll block out your scene for episode 6, and then you'll block out another scene for episode 7 in the same room, and they'll just do like block shooting. So you're just kind of jumping through episodes, but you'll film 3 episodes in one day. It's kind of insane. It's like acting. It's like boot camp for actors.
Really?
I think it's the best way to learn. Yeah.
Because you did that right at the beginning of kind of your acting career, so that must have been kind of a nice.
Oh, it was fun.
springboard
I
and
was so
fun.
happy.
Yeah.
You know, I was getting paid. I quit my part-time job. I was so excited.
Where did you start your part-time job here?
I was working part-time at this clothing store called Cynthia Rowley that was on Melrose.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cynthia Rowley.
Yeah,
Is it
Cynthia
so open?
Rowley.
Go check that place out. I mean, this girl has great fashion sense, you guys. So she's not going to work at a store doesn't have cute clothes. So, I mean, you've done TV. You did a lot of TV, but then you kind of very easily made the transition into movies. Was that a difficult process, or like what was that like for you?
I mean, it is pretty much night and day. In terms of TV, things move so fast, and they're churning out these episodes fairly quickly. And with the movie process, it's so much, like, time is such a luxury, you know?
Yeah.
You really get the time to prep, or the time to work things out, have meetings with the director. I mean, it's a different experience. I don't know. All auditions to me are the same, whether they're for a small role, a commercial, a big film. You know, you treat it the same way. And I don't ever recall thinking like, oh no, it's so hard for a TV actor to get into movies. I mean, that it used to be such a gray area, and no, it used to be very black and white.
Yeah.
But now I feel like everyone's doing the crossover, so it's really not that.
And when you're shooting shows like Once Upon a Time, for example, which I'm a huge fan of, so congrats on that role,
Thank
because that's almost like a movie. Like
Yeah.
every episode is this hour-long epic,
Yeah.
really. What was it like being on set with Once Upon a Time, playing a princess, a classic Disney princess, Mulan?
It was pretty cool. The first day was, okay, you're going to ride this horse into the shot. I'm like, yes! There's no other movie or like any other show that I can think of where I'm like, I'm going to ride a horse, or I'm going to do a period piece, you know, like, I don't know if, you know, I wouldn't, it's seldom that I would read something for a period piece riding a horse. But this is fantasy, and, you know, I watched Mulan when I was younger, and I loved it, and it was kind of a dream come true to play this character. I was very excited.
And she had, I mean, what they did with, I feel like, Mulan's storyline was so unexpected, and something that, you know, I don't think anybody have really seen
Yeah.
a Disney princess being portrayed with her love interest story and kind of her love triangle.
Yeah.
What was it like when you kind of got that script and
I
realized
mean,
that was your storyline?
It's funny because Sarah Bolger, who plays Aurora, we were always joking around. We're like, this is totally, we're like in love with each other. Like, listen to this dialogue. And we would practice our lines, go over our lines, like as if we're falling, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're just playing around. And we were always joking. And then when the script came in, you know, with the twist and the surprise, where Mulan wants to pour her heart out and tell Aurora that she loves her, it really shocked me. I was like, I can't believe they went for it. I'm so proud of them that they did. Because there was like this online, what is it called?
like fan fiction?
Thank you.
Or
No, yeah, exactly. And it was like hashtag sleeping warrior. And everyone was like, they love each other. Aurora and Mulan like love each other. And so it was really rewarding to like kind of play that out for them. You know, because it felt right. It felt like the right thing to do.
That's awesome.
Character-wise, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so, and on your Twitter, you actually have wannabe action hero kind of listed under your thing. And don't you feel like you kind of are an action hero
No,
now?
that's just in movies. I mean, in real life, you know? I really want to be like an action hero in real life, but I'm like the biggest klutz. I have multiple bruises on my legs because I'm always running into corners. It's like my knees are tracted. I'm semi-coordinated, but I'm very clumsy. So I am a wannabe.
You're a
action
wannabe.
hero.
If you were had a superhero name or were any type of action hero, what type would you be?
What name?
Yeah, name, like superpower.
Well, my superpower would be teleportation.
That's a cool superpower. A
And
little
flying.
Nightcrawler action.
Yeah, a little Nightcrawler action. But I never thought of like a name. I don't know. That's a good question.
So, I mean, of all the movies you've done, what has kind of been your favorite?
I would have to say it would be Sucker Punch, only because, you know, I became so close with the girls and we still keep in touch, and the experience was so surreal. It really embraced like the creative aspect of our jobs, and you know, they really nurtured that. And I thought what we made was beautiful. Like I know some people were confused by it, but it's an experience that I will never forget, and it's friendships that, you know, won't be going away.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
it's so cool when you have a movie like that with all these strong female leads,
Yeah.
basically, and you guys are all like the butt kickers. Like you guys
Yeah.
are like doing what the guys do. You're getting dirty, you're getting gritty, but you all look so hot doing it. You look so pretty. So shout outs to your makeup artist and everybody on the
Thank you.
costume
Yeah.
department on that movie.
It was
'cause
they did a
so
stellar
cool.
job. Yeah.
And visually, it was just a stunning,
Yeah.
stunning movie. I'm so glad that you had fun doing that,
Thank
and
you.
that all the girls are cool, and it's
Love
not
them
like
all.
catty.
Not at all. Everyone was very supportive, and you know, everyone had an important role to support each other. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really great.
So another kind of like camaraderie, I guess, like, you know, you guys had a ton of major stars on the Sin City movie that's coming out now. What was that movie like? What was it like when you found out that you were going to be in the second Sin City movie?
Well, I had read a couple of different roles, and I was like, oh, I'd love to play this, maybe that. And so when I got the call that they were looking for a Miho, I was like, wait a second, what about Devon Aoki? You know, she did such a great job in the first film. Like, why isn't she coming back? What's wrong? And they were like, she's pregnant with her second child. And I was like, oh, that's great for her. And it's like, okay, that's great for me. So it kind of just worked out that way. But, you know, again, she did such a great job on the first film. I really wanted to honor what she did, character in terms of her choices, and use that for the material for the prequel.
So how has tell me a little bit about your character. Like, what is her journey kind of through this film? Or as much as you can tell me.
No, I can tell you a lot. It's, you know, it's quite plain and simple. You get a little backstory of why she is this way, and you know, why she's protecting the women of Sin City. She is a mute because of a traumatic experience that happened during her childhood, and you know, she emotes nothing, and she's stone cold even when she's, you know, in action, in motion. And so that was probably one of the hardest things. You think it's simple, like
Yeah.
don't speak and just don't do anything. And it's actually really hard to do with your face.
Yeah.
Because when you're running or flipping, like, you know, if it's an exhale or like a grimace or something, like you have to start all over because it's unusable. It's not who Miho is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So did you have to do a lot of training leading up to this film?
I was filming Once Upon a Time in Vancouver, and when I got the job, I was in Vancouver. And so I had to be on set first thing in the morning. And so I took a flight, I slept on the plane, I got off, I got into my gym clothes. We did stunt training for 2 hours on wires and with weapons, and then we filmed it after I went through the works, after hair and makeup. So
That's
it was
crazy.
very quick. There was like zero. I mean, Sucker Punch, we got 3 months of prep, like 3 months of like working out together and like doing like 2-hour workouts in the morning, and then, you know, drinking a protein shake, and then doing like weapons training, and then drinking, like eating like a healthy lunch, and then, you know, going into fight choreography. So it was like a full day of training for 3 months. I got 2 hours. it was pretty incredible. But it's because of all the previous training that I've
Absolutely.
had. I was able to do what I did in this movie.
I had no idea. That's crazy. You know, the crazy stuff about movies and TV that you don't know, because that literally slept on an airplane. So what was it like? I mean, Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez, they're so well known in this town. They have such a style of film that they make, and especially with Sin City. What was it like working with those two?
It's really cool. Like, this is Frank Miller's baby, and you know, Robert helps bring it to life. And the shots are there. Like, it's all drawn out in his comic book that he's made. And, you know, Frank Miller will literally, Robert Rodriguez will literally bring that page on the comic book to life. It's pretty remarkable in terms of the camera angles, and that's why they're so interesting, because it's directly from this comic book, and the style is very specific. You know, it's the comic book genre, the action genre, and it's got a pinch of film noir.
Which is
you know,
awesome.
yeah, exactly. You have the damsel in distress. You've got the interesting lighting, the contrast between the black and white. It's a piece of work. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. And so what was it like? I mean, it's such a cool movie that most of it's shot on green screen. It's like basically
99%,
all of it's shot on green screen. What's it like as an actor, kind of, because I mean, you had just come from Once Upon a Time, where I know they do use a lot of green screen on that too, but you're also out in the woods with Once Upon a Time. You're like on sets, but what's it like just working against nothing?
Oh, man. It's interesting. I mean, it's very green, and, you know, the majority of the time, most of the actors weren't there because we shot all of our bits separately. So even though we're in the same scene together, they're not there. For example, like Josh Brolin isn't there when I'm, you know, when I have my katana behind his chair. It's weird. They're like, okay, so see this little X over there? That's Jamie King. And this tennis ball, that's Josh Brolin. Go. Like, it's pretty weird.
So my next question of like, what was it like working with everybody on
I
set?
couldn't even answer that question.
You didn't.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't.
Well, has press been fun then? Because you've gotten to actually see everybody and interact and stuff?
Yeah, you know, like last night, I finally got to pull Jessica aside and let her know that I was so proud of the work that she's done. You know, she had so much to work with this character, and you can tell it was really fun for her because she nailed it. It was an interesting arc, you know, and most of the female characters two of the female characters had like a big 180 turn. So the woman that you thought was the damsel in distress was the manipulator, and the woman that you thought was broken and done for, like, becomes the avenger and, you know, seeks justice, and she becomes like kick-ass. So it was cool to watch.
I love all these kick-ass girls coming
Yeah,
out. Like,
me too.
all these
And
movies.
Rosario's just like always cool. Always cool, and she's always badass.
Such cool chicks in this
Yeah.
movie. And it's so cool because, I mean, Jessica Alba, when they shot the first one, she hadn't had either of her kids yet, right? And now she has 2 kids, and she's looking like rocking.
It's so not fair.
It's like, what?
I remember watching, I was like, oh, okay, that's inspiring. Yeah.
How do you do that? You're not human.
I know, for real. I know.
So, do you have any like funny stories about, like, you know, you got with each other or doing any press stuff together?
I was walking, you know, on set, and we were going back and forth because we were shooting different scenes, so we had to go back and change. And I remember, like, seeing this guy, and he looked pretty battered, but you know, the prosthetic makeup was so good. And someone pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, did you meet Josh? Josh, this is Jamie." And I was like, Josh Brolin? Oh my God, like I could not recognize him. It was pretty insane.
Yeah, makeup is so cool.
Yeah.
Special effects makeup is so
It was
cool.
so weird.
So now when Sin City's done, do you have some other projects you're going to be going off to, or?
Well, at the moment I'll be in September, I'll be in New York for Fashion Week, so it'll be more of a focus on the blog.
And let's talk about your blog a little bit.
Yeah.
Your What the Chung.
Yeah.
Which, again, you guys need to go to her wwebsite.
Thank you.
It's so awesome. And I literally was stressing out so bad about what I was wearing today because she is such a fashionista.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And I was like, what on her blog do I have? Do I have any of this stuff that looks like the stuff in my closet?
You look great. You look great. It's called What the Chung, and it was a lifestyle blog. It still is. It's more fashion focused now, but you know, I love traveling, and like everyone else, I love eating. So more of those will come. But It's great. And I just actually finished this show called Resident Advisors, and it's for Hulu, and it comes out January of 2015, but Elizabeth Banks was one of the executive producers, and really smart writing. I mean, you know, our showrunner Ira worked on Friends forever, and the material is just so solid, and it's really rare that you get something so well written, so good, you know?
So is it more comedy or drama?
It's all comedy.
Really?
Yeah, working with Ryan Hansen, Allison Rich, who is huge in the improv world. So funny, this girl. She's so funny. And do you know King Batch?
I feel like I've heard that
He's
name.
he's like an Instagram sensation. He's a Viner.
Oh, well, Viners are
He's
so
like
good because they're so
10
quick.
million followers or something
my
ridiculous like
gosh.
that. But he's in the show, and he's a great actor. I mean, it's an interesting group of hooligans. It's great.
So do you enjoy doing comedy, or do you enjoy doing
do.
drama about it more?
You know, it's the joy of being an actor. You can hopefully try and do both, or you know, or voiceover work, for example, is really fun, and I just got to do that
Oh yeah,
for Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's nice to change it up, right? That's
Yeah.
why we never get sick of our jobs.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Do you have a dream role?
Oof. Of course. You know, working with Ridley Scott or, you know, Steven Spielberg. I mean, Soderbergh. The list goes on. There's just so many creative people out there. But then there's also upcoming, you know, directors that haven't quite made it, but they have such a great vision, like Megan Griffiths. You know, I had such a great time working with her on Eden, and she's only getting better, but she's got such a great idea of how to tell a story. So yeah, it varies.
She's putting it out in the universe. Ridley, Steven,
Spielberg.
Spielberg,
if you're
Spielberg. So, and I just, you can tell me if you want to talk about this or not, because I know you're very private, but you got engaged recently.
I did.
And so how are the wedding plans going? Is that kind of...
Oh man, it's like I feel like planning a wedding is like building IKEA furniture. It's like you do it together and you want to kill each other. And so the first thing we did was get a wedding planner. That's all we have.
check one off the
I
list?
know.
So you don't know when it's going to be, or...
No idea. It's going to be next year.
Yeah.
We have so many weddings coming up in the fall as well as in the spring. I mean, I'm so tempted just to get eloped, but I don't think that our parents will ever talk to us again. They'll be pretty pissed.
Well, is there anything else that you have coming up, or anything you want to plug?
No, that's it.
No, you're
I've
good.
plugged everything in
You've
the
plugged
last 30
everything?
minutes. Yeah.
Can we plug anything else? Well, you guys can catch Jamie in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. It's out August 22nd in theater. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you on social media?
At Twitter, I am at Jamie Chung1 because Jamie Chung was taken. And for Instagram, it's Jamie J. Chung.
And whatthechung.com.
Yeah.
Right? Gotta check that out. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keaton Marchi, KeetinMarchi. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank
It's been
you.
such a pleasure interviewing you, and good luck with
Thanks for
everything.
having me. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.